Good morning. Thank you for being here today. We're here to bring attention to the 2018 investigation of James Stone Jr. I'd like to introduce the following people who are here with us today. We have members of the family of James Stone Jr. Bambi Stone is the mother and the spokesperson for the family. James Stone, his father. Jenny Stone, his sister, and Dan James, the boyfriend of his mother, Bambi. Here with us from the New London State's Attorney's Office is State's Attorney Paul Narducci, Inspector Michael Hurley, and from the State Police Eastern District Major Crime Squad, Sergeant Brett Langevin, Lead Detective David Bennett, and Detective Frank Cuoco. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to the lead detective, David Bennett.
Good morning. Thank you for coming today. My name is David Bennett. I'm the lead detective in this case. In May 18th, 2018, James Stone Jr. was found murdered on the Golden Hill Pecusset Indian Reservation located at 95 Stanovich Road in Colchester, Connecticut. State police detectives from the Eastern District Major Crime Squad are looking for additional assistance from the public regarding this investigation. Investigative leads have been developed since the start of the investigation, and we've also received new leads after the release of the reward from the social media platforms. James Stone was not living at that address at the time of the murder, but he had lived at that address for a few years prior to that incident. We will be following every lead that comes into the state police. That's all I have.
At this time, we would like to turn it over to the family. Mother Bambi has a statement that she would like to provide on behalf of the entire family. Bambi?
Excuse me. Hello, my name is Bambi Stone, and I'm Jimmy's mother. My family seeks swift justice for this senseless murder of our loving son and brother, Jimmy. Jimmy was a kind, loving person that did not deserve to die the way that he did, and we are devastated by this loss, and we will never forget and never get over the loss of Jimmy. Jimmy lived a peaceful and productive life and is missed every single moment of every day. We are asking the public for any information that would lead to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for Jimmy's murder. Please, if you have any information about what happened to Jimmy, please contact the state police at Troop K. Thank you.
If members of the press have any questions that they would like to ask relative to the investigation, they could do so at this time.
Can you elaborate more on the facts of the case and what you know?
What we know is that he was found in a small trailer that was on the reservation at the time, or at that address. We know he suffered what appeared to be gunshot wounds. And we do know that part of the investigation here is that Jimmy Stone didn't have a real large net of friends or around. It was kind of a small group, and that's part of the investigation that we're trying to really get information on. It was a rural area. There wasn't a lot of It's not. There's not a lot of houses around there. It's pretty rural. So those are some of the complications that we're having with the case. We are developing. We've used cell phone information and data to help the investigation, to try to pinpoint people that could have been there and rule out others that.
You said that he didn't live in the trailer at the time, but he used to. Did you know the person who was living in the trailer at the time?
It was not a trailer that was anybody was living in. He used to live in that small little trailer, but he had moved to town prior, and we believe that he was retrieving property from that trailer, his own property, when he was killed.
What town did you relocate to?
He relocated here to Colchester, just right down the road.
Can you talk about more of the work that you guys have done in the last almost 4 years now? Some of the investigative work that you've done?
We've done a lot of cell phone work. We've been working extensively with the lab and detectives that have skills with the cell phones, trying to narrow down possible leads. We're also looking in. We're getting a lot of information from the public, and it's just running down those leads almost weekly.
How many people have you guys interviewed so far?
I don't have the exact number on that, but I would say it's probably close to 100 people.
Can you talk about the reward in this case?
Excuse me?
Can you talk about the reward in this case?
I'm going to turn that over to the court. Want to handle that?
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Paul Narducci. I'm the state's attorney for the New London Judicial District. Back in March of 2021, despite all the good efforts of the Connecticut State Police, it appeared that some of the leads were running a little low. They had done an exceptional job, an intense and lengthy investigation. However, we were not able to establish and have not been able to establish probable cause based on the information that they were able to garner. Back in March, the end of March of 2021, we contacted the governor's office, and pursuant to our statutes, we had requested a reward be issued. The governor, shortly thereafter, in April of 2021, did authorize a reward in the amount of $25,000, leading for the hopes that will spur people to come forward with more information that will help lead us to be able to solve this. Upon an arrest and a conviction, we will review all of the evidence and all of the information that was provided and determine whether or not the reward will be given. However, it is our hopes that this reward will further the investigation and allow more leads to come forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I have some more investigative questions.
Thank you.
I know you said it was a rural area. Were there any surveillance cameras in the area that might have given you some information?
As of right now, we looked into all that, and again, it's a very rural area, and there were no surveillance at that location. However, we did recover other surveillance from other points in the town, especially to track movements of Jimmy prior to his death.
And I know that you said it was an empty trailer at the time, as in no one was living there. Are you thinking that it was someone who might have known him, who was there waiting, or someone who may have not known him? Do you have any information on that?
I don't really have any information on that at this time.
You really have no
I don't.
idea if there could have been a tie or not.
I don't.
Just to speak to that question, after speaking with the detective, that was something where we don't want to speculate into any of the connections related to the victim and the offender, so offender or offenders. So at that point, I would just say that, based on that, we don't want to provide any misinformation. We don't want to speculate on that.
Thank you. And then how many cases do you guys have right now within the district?
I don't know.
Oh,
You
that's,
know that?
We don't have that information at that time, but I can get that to you afterwards.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you would want people to know who are watching about the importance of if they have any information going forward?
I think I'm also.
So I think, speaking from our perspective from the Public Information Office, we cannot emphasize enough how important a role the public plays. You may be thinking about it and thinking you have this small bit of information. It doesn't seem like it's very significant at the time, but it could be that one tiny bit of information that could really crack open a case. And again, the $25,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the individual that's responsible for this horrific crime is something that, I mean, it just urges people that much more. You know, we want the public to come forward. This is very important. We've already seen some really great results from our posting on social media, and we thank people for the information that they've provided thus far. Our Eastern District Major Crime Detectives are aggressively following up on all the information and the leads that they've gotten from that.
I don't know if you have the statistics on this, but how effective was the efficacy of putting a reward out on a cold case like this?
I don't have any statistics for that, but I can tell you that there's a reason why people do it nationwide. You know, that's something where, you know, you don't always necessarily hear about it, right? You see that the reward comes out, you know, and it may be relative to, you know, people don't necessarily want that publicized, you know, so it's something where you can come forward with that information, you know, and it can lead to that reward. It's just you may not necessarily see that publicized. You know, obviously you don't want to publicize that someone received a large amount of money, but it really is something that can really help our case, not just here in our state, but obviously it has been successful in the past in other states nationwide.
I didn't really hear all the questions, so forgive me if this has been addressed, but is there a particular person of interest at this point?
Based on my conversation with Detective Bennett, we, you know, they explore every avenue and every lead that they have. You know, we're not going to single out or specify whether or not there's one person or several people in connection to the case. That's something, you know, again, we don't want to speculate. You know, and it is an active and ongoing investigation, so we don't necessarily want to put all our cards on the table either. So,
I'm wondering if anyone from the family can speak to what you've been doing these past few years to make sure that this case gets the attention that it deserves.
Want to speak to that, or?
We've put a lot of our faith in the detectives that have been handling this case. They've done an extraordinary job in keeping us informed, you know, as they find things out and what's been going on. Anything that we can do to help them, they're always there to let us know. So basically anything that they've requested of us or anything, you know, that we can do to help move it along. But I think that they've done a really great job themselves, exploring every possible thing that they could and really just sticking with the case and not letting it go cold.
Does anyone have any additional questions at this time?
Can we just get your name?
My name is Jenny Stone.
So in closing, I just want to thank you all for coming here today. I'd like to thank the court for their representation and providing their support. Again, the Eastern District Major Crime Squad detectives that have tirelessly worked on this case. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but they're doing the best they can. Again, any information that you have that you can provide to us, you know, we have all the contact information out there for Detective David Bennett, who's the lead investigator on this. Please feel free to reach out. We will be going back inside to regroup. However, we will be available for individual interviews afterwards. Thank you.